Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. We're happy that you're joining us today. Hope you're having a great day so far, and hopefully after you listen to the show, it'll get even better. I've got Bret Kolman here. He's a former hospital CEO who led 2 hospitals while regularly stepping away for intentional sabbaticals focused on faith, reflection, and renewal. What he discovered is powerful. Sometimes the greatest clarity and peace come when we pause. Today, he's going to share simple, practical wisdom from his book, Wisdom That Leads to Soul Rest, helping people reconnect to purpose, relationships, and a deeper sense of rest. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Holly.
Yeah, happy to have you here. So we were talking before, and I love that you use the word sabbatical, and I felt like the way you were explaining and talking about it was just like, every time you said sabbatical, I replace it with retreat. And so I asked you, I said, is that like another word? So explain to me if there's a difference or just why you use that word and why it's important to you. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, yes, I do think they're very similar. You know, I've been on a lot of retreats, conferences. I love them. I've done 31 of these mini sabbaticals, mini as in MINI, small sabbaticals, and they only last 60 hours. So they start on a Saturday night with a fast, and we break our fast Tuesday morning. I think the big idea of our sabbaticals and why I named it that is there's a story in the Bible about taking 7 years, every 7th year, you let your farm rest.
Yeah.
And so I had some farmland in Kansas that I actually the 7th year didn't plant anything. And so we had just started 3 times a year. We've done 31 of these now. So I've done it for over a decade. And we call it a sabbatical because unlike a retreat where you may be busy from sun up to sundown and have a really intense schedule, our sabbaticals are more relaxed, more laid back. There's actually a big part of it that's solitude, where you're not talking to other people. You can listen to music, you can read, you can sleep. Most people are so sleep deprived, they're sleeping for 10, 12, 16 hours a day, which is okay. That's part of what sabbatical can be. It's whatever you want it to be.
Wow. I love that. Well, a lot of retreats too. I mean, that's like a 2.5 day, right? If you add all the hours up together. So a lot of retreats do that. They're weekend type things because people are busy. They have busy lives. And I love the fact that it breaks it down to get that break. Like I like the idea of the sabbatical being the 2.5 days rather than a retreat. Cause I, I think people are learning with retreats nowadays though, not to cram so much in. People do want that downtime. I think every retreat at some way, somehow, transformations involved in there somewhere. You know, that people are signing up for some kind. If they just want a girls trip, just go shop, put your girls together, go get an Airbnb, go shopping, you know? I mean, but if you want some transformation, I think you can do it. You can do it in a short weekend like that. So, but I
Some of
like,
my best experiences have been retreats, conferences. I mean, they're absolutely wonderful, but I think maybe it's with age that you learn that you can't go as hard and as fast as you used to be able to go. And so you don't want to come back more tired than when you left. And so
no,
and you want some time to process what you're learning and what you're taking away from it. So
yeah.
I really feel like we do a bit of solitude, but we do a little bit of what I call campfire talk. So
Mm,
there's a lot of, I go with up to 30 other people, 40 other people, and we break into small groups of 5 to 10. And we sort of just talk around the campfire about challenges, about ideas, about things that we're considering. And that's usually 2 to 3 hours of the night. And
hmm.
sometimes the best thing that you take away from sabbatical is the solitude. Sometimes it's the rest, but sometimes it's something you learned at the campfire from someone else.
Well, I think when you're discussing, that's the power of a mastermind. And I think retreats can represent that a lot as well. Just being able to listen to other people's challenges. I'm helping on our committee for our 40th class reunion this year. We have more in common now than we had in high school. You know, there's
Yeah.
people that I don't want to hang out with my high school friends. And it's like, Why? You can, it's so much more relatable as we get older. We have so much more in common and we can learn from each other. At least I hope we do.
Absolutely.
I
In
learn
the
from everybody.
in the counsel of many there is wisdom. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody's smarter than everybody.
What's your favorite part of your mini, that's MINI, sabbatical?
Man, it's a hard question because everyone's different. There's been times where the fasting was hard, times where the fasting was easy. There's been times where I got an idea or got feedback from somewhere around the campfire that I think really spoke into my life. There was an example one time, and it was just a reminder to me. I spend about $1,500 going to these because they're out of state and it's where I used to live. My friends are there, and so I go with business owners that are out of state, and I spend a bunch of money. And so I'm thinking about this sacrifice I'm making. And one of the
Yeah.
guys around the campfire said, the most important thing is not the sacrifice we make, it's the following through and doing what we learn from it, and taking an action when you get back. And it struck me really hard because about 2 years before that, I'd had this like idea during sabbatical that I should really write a letter to my mom and dad, telling them how much I appreciated them. And I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't do it at the time. I didn't do it when I got home. And my dad ended up getting COVID and passing away. And I never even got that letter written to him. So it's kind of a reminder sometimes that
Yeah.
you have to follow through on whatever you're getting from the retreat, from the conference,
Yeah.
from the sabbatical. Is take good notes, journal, and but follow through. If you don't follow through, you kind of lose the value of it. So I think probably one of the most valuable things I learned was at the campfire to follow through.
Huh. I like that. Well, and those little nudges come to us for a reason. We all have intuition. I talk about that a lot in my book. And sometimes we listen, sometimes we don't. And then we find out why later. So
Yeah,
it's always good to
exactly.
follow those nudges. What would you say to the person trying to decide to spend the time and the money for a sabbatical retreat? What would you say if they're wavering about that? Like they're just don't know.
Well, I mean, in life, oftentimes you will have a sabbatical whether you choose it or not. So if you end up sick, not able to eat, laying in bed, that's a sabbatical that life forced upon you. So you're wise to, there's a pattern to life. And you have to, every cell in your body that uses electricity actually has to have a time where no electricity can happen. And there's
Yeah.
ebb and flow in the ocean, the sun, everything has an ebb and flow. It's built into the universe. If you don't take an intentional pause, you will burn out, you will get soul depleted, and an unnatural sabbatical will come to you whether you want it or not. So this is kind of not optional because life will force it upon you if you don't choose it.
Yeah, no, it will. And I'm a perfect example of that. For those of you that don't know my story, I had a 70-day hospital stay with COVID. So double intubation, trachea, sepsis. I feel like God put me in a coma most of that time so that I would sit still and listen because I was off track and I wasn't listening. And boy, what a better wake up call when you literally cannot hardly move your body.
Right.
Your mind goes all kinds of places. So I went to
That's
some pretty cool
amazing.
places though, by the way. But yeah, you're right. Your body will speak up. It will wear you down. That's how come I think we have so much disease nowadays too, because people just aren't listening.
For sure. I mean, stress related things like high blood pressure, the things that you go to the doctor for, anxiety, a lot of these things could be avoided if you would take time. And, when I go on the sabbaticals, I listen to worship music, I read my Bible, I
Yeah,
pray, I repent, which is, just kind of to me, any relationship you have, you want to make sure that your slate is clean.
yeah,
So if you've gotten your slate dirty, you need to like make sure that everything is good between you and God. And none of us are perfect, so it's just a good time to. The other thing that's really important is, you know, real bank tellers don't study counterfeit money. They just use real money, and they use it so much that they know when it's counterfeit. And I think one of the big ideas that I have about sabbatical is a lot of people don't know what real peace is. They don't know what the peace, so that when they're trying to make a big decision, they don't have people that they trust, that they know, that have had experience making, that they can go to, they can bounce the ideas off of, and they don't know what real peace is. So if you don't experience true peace through intentional pauses, then you can fall for a counterfeit.
Yeah. Well, you're speaking my language. I talk about that too because my whole life, never felt peace until probably a year ago. That was the first time I felt like I had true peace in my life where I could actually go, this is what it is. This is what this looks like. And I can't imagine somebody never having that in their life. I mean, I'm old and it has a lot of years to go without feeling peace. So I love that you say that. What would you say, just thinking off the top of your head, what are three things if someone's listening right now and they're thinking, gosh, and maybe they're a retreat leader, they're aspiring retreat leader, but retreat leaders need retreats. Like coaches need coaches. Like we need to practice what we preach. If we're wanting people to come and show up at our retreats and take that time off and be, phone free and everything, you've got to do that in return. Like it's kind of reciprocity, right? So let's say they can't do it right now. They'd like to, but it's not on the schedule. Can't be for a while. Let's think of three things they could do maybe to start a practice just for their own sabbatical in their home. What
Yeah.
would you say those top three would be for you?
Well, I always think, I've never heard it talked about, but I kind of was studying sabbaticals as I was writing my book. And I thought about that there's 6 kinds of sabbaticals. So the first one is a daily sabbatical. Are you taking some time in the morning or the evening to really journal some thoughts, journal gratitude? I mean, there's a ton of studies on gratitude. And if
Oh
you
yeah.
keep a gratitude journal, how it actually changes, the wiring in your brain so that you're actually subconsciously looking for things to be grateful for all day long. So you'll have something to write down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely a daily sabbatical that you can do, whatever is in your ability. And, always start where you're at. Don't worry about where other people are at or what other people have done. You always just start where you're at. And if it's 1 minute sabbatical, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, you build up from there. You do what you can. But then there's weekly. So, I
Hmm.
do a weekly sabbatical. And the original Sabbath, if you look at the Old Testament Sabbath, was number one. The Jews start the Sabbath on Saturday night,
Yeah.
so rest begins with rest. And then if you think about the creation of the world, the 6th day man was created, the 7th day rest, the 8th day they went to work. So the week starts from rest. You don't work to rest. It's not the lover
Yeah.
boy working for the weekend. It's working from the weekend. And so there's daily, there's weekly, and then I do these 3 times a year, which then I'm living from sabbatical to sabbatical. So if I have a big decision to make, buy a car, buy a house, change jobs,
Right.
or anything else, I'm getting wise counsel, and I would make a decision for a big amount of money or a big decision that didn't involve other people's input. And it's spending time getting that peace, spending time in solitude and with the Lord, that I can really do that well. And I always know, even if I'm always have another sabbatical coming up. So I never have to think, well, I can't make that decision for a year. If I just
Yeah.
wait a month, I have another sabbatical, or I just got back from a sabbatical. So the more you do it, the more you're living from sabbatical to sabbatical.
I have a friend that we did a retreat with her that I helped support. It was called Work from Rest. That was the name of the retreat. And I love that. It was confusing to me at first. I was like, work from rest. Someone that never would rest like me, was like, work from rest. I don't know what that means. Now I do. But it was a good one. What would you say to someone who just says, like, I don't have time to rest?
Well, I mean, I think I would challenge that, because I would say, how much time do you have on your phone? Do you have the little screen thing that says how long tell me what your iPhone screen time tells me says,
Yeah.
and prove to me that you're not on your phone for 6 hours a day, or that
Right.
you're not scrolling, or that you're not on social media, or you're not watching TV. Because what happens is people start equating those things with rest. Like, and it's okay to take just, like a do nothing time, but some of those things are not true rest. They're fake rest. They're counterfeits, and they're not going to give you the true peace and the true rest, because your mind's not really relaxing. You're not really hearing from the Lord. You're not really in a place where you can experience true rest. So anyone who says they can't do it, I mean, I was on call for 10 years straight. I had over 1,500 employees. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff too. I own three fitness centers, and so I got a lot going on. Everyone has a lot going on, and here's what I found out: if you have extra time, someone and you're good at what you do, someone will ask you to give your time to them, and it's the ability to say no. And sometimes, if you truly don't have the time right now, then maybe you need to do an audit of the things you've said yes to. Because if you say no to two or three things that you're currently doing, you may change your life with the capacity that you add to do something like sabbatical.
Yeah. Oh, that's wise words, Brett. I hope everyone just heard that because really important. Sometimes we're our worst critics too, but we want to always come up with new things. I love this. What habits quietly steal our peace without us realizing it?
I mean, honestly, part of what I wrote about was wisdom that leads to soul rest, where soul rest is all the things physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally that steal your energy and your peace. I think probably the one that I didn't figure out, I didn't find out how universal it was until
Yeah.
I'd done like 15 sabbaticals, was parenting. And,
Mm,
our kids, we love our kids. They're the gift that keeps on giving. They give us great joy. They give us great frustration sometimes. And so I think that's one of the things. And I had a friend that challenged me, and I did a 21-day prayer sort of journey where every night I would get up at midnight for 21 days straight at midnight, and I would pray through the mnemonic spirit, and each letter like SPIRT, and you'd go through the relationships and finances and everything that, but you give your kids to the Lord, and then because what you're doing is you're not only giving up your burden, but you're showing them how to trust the Lord. Because if you teach your kids that, like, take caffeine, stay up late, work, only sleep 6 hours a day. I know these high school kids these days that are sleeping like 4 and 5 hours to get good grades so they can get
I
into
know.
the, like, I'm not doing that.
I don't either.
And I think that you have to model to your kids that you're fully in the current, you're fully there, and that you're not going to worry, because honestly, you can't be there all the time. Only God
Yeah.
can, and you have to just trust Him. And when you start demonstrating that you trust Him, and that when troubles come up, they can trust Him,
Yeah.
that's probably the number one hidden leak of energy that a lot of parents are experiencing, that they probably don't even realize it.
Yeah. Well, I know you had sent me like some things in your chapters of your book. Let's talk about for a minute. What's your favorite chapter? Like, what do you feel like your favorite part of your book is, if you can
My
pick?
favorite chapter is the second chapter. It's called Learning to Lose. And it's a lot about me and my wife, and things that I learned early in marriage and how it affected my management style.
Mm,
I'm still kind of ornery, but I used to like to debate and argue, and just for the sport of it a little bit.
yeah.
And we've been married 4 or 5 years, and my wife's now we've been married now 34 years. But when we'd been married 4 or 5 years, my wife said, "Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy?" And I love to win so much that I honestly wasn't sure how to answer that question. It was almost like I need to take a day to think about it.
Oh gosh.
And it's the ultra competitive person doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then a few years after that, we were kind of debating, like, I'm complaining because we're getting places late. She's complaining because my socks are on the floor. And so I had this, what I thought was a genius idea. I don't know if I read it in a book or heard it on radio or how I found out about it, but I'm like, let's make a list of all the small, tiny things that are little paper cuts of life that are driving us crazy. And on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., we will give that list to each other, because Wednesday at 7 a.m. is already a bad day. It's hump day. And so it seems like the best day of the week to ruin our lives. But it'll make the other 6 days so much better. So it's worth it. And so the very first Wednesday list, we're going through the week, and she starts complaining about something, and I'm like, put it on the Wednesday list. And I start laughing, and then I start to attack on something. She's like, put it on the Wednesday list. So that Wednesday morning, that first Wednesday list, I wake up, I'm rushing around to get to work. and I haven't been writing my notes of all her infractions. And I see her list on the table, and it's 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, folded in half, says Wednesday list on the outside. I'm like, I open it up, and it's like, I love you because you care for this family. I love you because you're a great dad. So instead of winning, she had purposely lost. And what I noticed in my job is the relationships, and I worked with a lot of doctors and a lot of different people that were like to win. And so what I realized is that if you win every debate, you lose every relationship. And winners, sometimes people who are highly competitive have to sometimes mentally and emotionally feel like they're losing, because that's what the relationship needs.
Yeah. Wow. Great story. I like that. That was awesome. All right. You ready for some rapid fire?
I think. I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
Okay. These are no wrong answers. These are just what comes first to your mind. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early morning or late night?
Morning.
One word to describe your younger self.
Ornery.
One word to describe you now.
Sarcastic.
Favorite place you've ever gone to?
My sabbaticals.
Where do you go to clear your mind?
I have a little prayer chair in my living room with a heated blanket that I plug in and put over my lap like an old lady, like I'm some old person that can't generate any heat.
If you could unplug for 1 week anywhere in the world, where would it be?
If I could do what?
Unplug for 1 week.
Man, I hate to say it, but I love Europe. It's just so peaceful, and the public transportation, and it's just so relaxed.
Well, okay. So we are going to put in the show notes how to get a hold of you. Your book information, is that on your website?
Yeah, it is.
Say the name of it again.
It's sabbaticaltaker.com. So it's the name of the book is Wisdom That Leads to Soul Rest. It's the idea was everything that sucks energy out of you. And so almost everything every chapter in the book is something that many books have been written about, but this is the common theme, as these things suck energy from you and how to give energy back.
We need it more than ever. I'm always looking to get more energy back, and I have a lot of energy, but not like I used to. Well, Bret, thanks so much for coming and being a great guest. And now everybody knows sabbaticals can be a lot like a retreat, but hopefully you understood the differences. I love talking about that. All right. Until next time, we will see you all on the show, and bye for now.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you. Thank for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place, from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.